I'm back out on the tailgate today to do another pistol caliber carbine overview and comparison. Looking at some of the other videos I've shot about PCCs, it seems like people are really interested in these lately. And to be honest, my opinion of PCCs are they're good for home defense if you don't want to over penetrate through a wall, because they're way more accurate and they shoot a 9mm cartridge, which is the most popular caliber for PCCs, it seems. Also, they're good for younger shooters. So my 12-year-old son shoots one on a semi-regular basis, so it's something to get them started in firearms and learning gun safety and stuff. And then also just plain fun, because they are a lot of fun to shoot. Ammunition's really cheap. You can get a box of I've been getting cases of this 1,000 rounds of this Cellar and Bellet, which I know isn't great ammunition, but I've been getting 1,000 rounds of this for just a little over $200 on a regular basis, so they make it affordable. I've also had some other viewers say that they're good for things like around the farm, pest control, etc. I'm not sure that works where I'm at, because the fields are kind of open and things like coyotes and stuff are out in the middle of the fields and they don't let you get super close to them. But I can see how up close around buildings, that's another really good, for pest control, that's another really good use for them. So anyway, the firearm that I'm going to do the overview of today is the Sig MPX PCC the competition model. So we'll just go ahead and start with this rifle, and it is unloaded. There's no magazine in the chamber. So this holds 35 round magazines, and this has ammo in it, but holds 35 round magazines. Has a muzzle brake on the end that does tame the recoil pretty well. Has a relatively thick handguard, but it's real good to get a grip on if you're holding it like this, like if you're going to shoot a competition with this, for instance, right? And you've got a really good grip on it. It also has a small piece of Picatinny up here if you wanted to put pop-up sights, emboss sights, right? And then there's no Picatinny here. It's M-lock, along with on both sides there's M-lock. The barrel's free floated, and when you get back here there's some Picatinny. And how I have this set up right now is I put the Holosun HE 510C, and this is the green one. It has I think 3 MOA dot and 60 MOA circle, so it has that same circle dot reticle section that you can pick. So this is 2 MOA dot and a 65 MOA circle, and so you can switch between the reticles like on the other Holosuns that I've shown on handguns. So this is also a solar powered backup. It automatically dims and adjusts, and from what I've seen, it's pretty quick as far as adjusting to light. Has an external battery, and it has a quick detach mount, so I can take it off. The gun itself is, like I said, a 9mm PCC, and it does have a folding stock. Stock folds here, right? So it shortens up so you can put it in your range bag or whatever. There's a little bit of wiggle in the actual stock itself. There's a little bit of wiggle there, and to be honest, there's a slight bit, well, not much. There's a slight bit of back and forth play in the handguard. The handguard's actually pinned here, so if you remove the pins, comes apart like an AR-15 basically, and breaks and the bolt comes out. So that's the other thing. It has a regular charging handle, and while the bolt doesn't exactly look like an AR-15 bolt, it comes apart the same way. Once you take this pin out and separate the upper and the lower, this handguard slides right out, and the barrel comes right off. And there's 2 screws here. If you take these out, this is a gas operated gun, so the gas piston is actually right here. It's really small, but it comes right out in your hand. You can clean it up really good, which I've been neglecting. But I haven't had any problems with it. I don't have a ton of rounds through it, 500 maybe, but I haven't cleaned it at all, really. And it's been running just fine. The trigger, it has a Timney trigger out of the box, and this trigger has a shoe in here that's specific for the MPX. So it's not, there's an actual extra shoe in here that makes it to where this trigger fits in here perfectly. I'm going to show you the trigger pull. Again, there's no magazine, no ammunition. Safety works just like the safety selector on an AR-15. It is ambidextrous. That was it. And then the reset. Real short, single stage, flat face trigger. This gun runs incredibly fast. The controls, like I said, the safety selector is AR-15 style. This is all patterned kind of after an AR-15. Safety selector is AR-15 style. There is ambidextrous mag release and bolt release. It doesn't necessarily work real good. It's ambidextrous. Yeah, well, it does work if you hit it hard enough. So it has an ambidextrous bolt release. I guess I wasn't slamming on it hard enough from this side with my finger. But it has an ambidextrous bolt release. So all the controls are ambidextrous so that you can operate it with either hand. Has a flared mag well for quicker reloads, which I find works relatively well. Multiple position stock, just like an AR-15. This does not have the buffer tube though, like a regular AR-15. There's no spring. There's no spring in here, right? And this isn't even the same. It's not even round like an AR-15 tube. As far as the magazines go, and for play, and this is just for playing around, I put a Hollow Sun magnifier. This is a 3-time magnifier. It also has a quick release mount, and when I'm not messing with this, I take this off. But, like I said, the magazine holds 35 rounds. You can't load this with a upluller or whatever you call this. You can't. It doesn't work. So you actually have. So I don't know if Sig has their own loading tool or not, but yeah, you can't load it that way. And there's no holes, witness holes or anything to see how many rounds are actually in it, like there is in the firearm that I'm going to compare it to. This, which is the FPC which is the Smith & Wesson, the FPC. There's witness holes here like a regular pistol mag, because this is a regular pistol mag. You can see the rounds. So that's one thing. I wish that Sig would, for the cost of this rifle, I wish that they would put witness holes in here. Also, you only get one magazine with this rifle as well. So for the price of this gun, it only comes with one magazine. That's another downside. The upside though is the performance is crazy on this thing. So I know that this is, and somebody's already typing this in the comments after I said I'm comparing this to the FPC. I just know it. You can't compare those two guns. They're in different price points, and so like I don't believe that. In my other videos, people have said that, where I've compared really expensive or seemingly expensive things to lesser expensive products, and people say you can't compare those two. Yes, you can. 16-inch barrel, 16-inch barrel. 9mm PCC cartridge, folding stock, you can do that. Now, is one better than the other? Yes. But you get to make your decision on whether or not you think that the differences between these rifles is worth the additional cost. So normally I don't say this kind of stuff, but I'll go ahead and say that I got, and this is also empty, I got this for $675, I think. It has a threaded barrel, shoots 9mm cartridges, shoots standard Smith & Wesson magazines. It came with 2 additional 21 round magazines and a 17 round magazine in the gun. So for the price, and I put, it didn't come with any sights, but neither did the MPX. So I put this Holosun on there, and the reason this is so low is I set this up for my son. But this is accurate. Out at 25 yards, you can cover the rounds. You can cover the rounds like that. This is a very accurate rifle, and it also breaks apart, right? So, which actually this one breaks apart and stores smaller even, right? So if you're looking for something that's storable for home defense, for instance, this is $675. You put another couple $100 into the optic, but you've got a really good rifle, or 9mm rifle. This, performance-wise, there's no comparison. This gun runs so fast, and it's just as accurate. This is heavier, so as far as recoil goes, I think in one of my videos I made a statement that the 9mm PCC that I was reviewing at the time didn't have any recoil. Somebody said, yeah, I don't believe that because it's got a blowback. It's the blowback design, right? And I want to correct myself. There is recoil in the things like the sub 2000 and the FPC because they are blowback. Obviously, there's recoil. I didn't mean it that way, but so the person that said that was absolutely right, and I want to correct myself. But now let's compare it to recoil from other firearms. It does recoil a little bit more, in my opinion, the blowback design than, let's say, a rifle length gas system in an AR-15 5.56 caliber, right? It does. This recoils less than a 5.56. So I won't say this doesn't have any recoil because somebody that shot this is going to say, oh, it does have recoil. But it doesn't have a lot. It doesn't have a lot at all. Follow-up shots are real fast. The dot never leaves the window. It never leaves the window. It just stays flat. Some of that is due to the weight. There's more weight up at the front of this from not only the handguard, but this barrel is a lot thicker. Yeah, this barrel is way thicker than the one on the FPC, for instance. So I know this is like a Ford versus Ferrari kind of a comparison, but I'm sitting on a Ford truck, so it's not that I don't like Fords. But you have to decide for yourself if you think, because I think I paid $2,100 for this gun, $2,100 for the rifle. This was $300. That's the green one. Oh, and the green dot, I'm starting to be a convert to the green dots. If you haven't shot a green dot yet and you have astigmatism, you should probably switch to a green dot, because for some reason, for me at least, the swish, the starburst effect that I get on a red dot, with the green, I don't get it as bad. I'm not saying it's gone, but it's way better than it is on the red dot. And I picked this up. I picked this up just as well as the green dot, even in a place like this where everything is green. So green dots, I believe, are probably the way to go for people with astigmatism for sure. Anyway, so $300 for this. So tax out the door. This magnifier was $170, I think, something like that. I don't know. This isn't the best magnifier in the world, but it sure does work real well, and it's also a Holosun. So out the door, I think tax and everything, give or take, $2,500, right? So is it worth $2,500 to get a setup like this over with the optic? Let's say that optic was $200. I don't exactly remember what it was. This also is green dot optic, by the way. Let's say it was $200. This out the door was $800 and something, I think it was $800 or $900, right? So you have to decide, is it worth it? I'm going to take both of these out now and shoot so you can see how they actually operate. But price aside, you can do most everything that you want to do with this rifle with the FPC or the Kel-Tec, right? You can plink, show your kids how to shoot and become proficient with firearms and safety. You can kill critters around, up close around the barn. You can use it for a home defense weapon, and in which case the FPC is probably better than the MPX as a home defense weapon. This is heavier. You can have a ton of fun and burn a lot of powder. Shoot competition, right? You don't have to have this to shoot a competition. There are people running the pistol caliber carbine USPSA here, shooting these, and they're killing it. They're so good. So you don't have to have this, right? So price aside, you can do just about anything with either one of these. Now let's go and actually do some shooting real quick before I melt in this Florida sun. So, all right, so I've got my eyes and my ears on now, and start with the FPC, put a magazine in. So hopefully that showed you the recoil impulse and kind of how fast this gun will shoot. I guess it'll shoot faster, but it wasn't fast enough to keep the dot on at least, right? The dot actually was moving around a lot on this rifle. So now we'll do the same basic thing with the MPX. Okay, so I guess I should have drove my truck down here. I had to walk back and get or brought a table. I have to walk back and get the rifle. So now we'll do the same thing with the MPX. Something else I didn't mention, go ahead and put a magazine in. Something else I didn't mention about the MPX is and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I believe it's control round feeding, because when I went to unload it, when I go to unload it and I pull the charging handle back, the round is actually captured by the end of the bowl. So maybe somebody will correct me there, and forgot to say too, I'm back at 20 yards, not that that really matters. I've sighted both these in for 25 yards. Helps if I rack around in. Ammunition just goes way too fast in this rifle. So I don't know if that was enough for anyone that's trying to make a decision between these two rifles, or to understand maybe what you get for this rifle, for the cost of this rifle, that you don't get in cheaper price point rifles. One is the gas system, obviously, which makes the recoil a lot better. The other is the handguard, I believe, that adds a little extra weight, completely free floated barrel, AR-15 style controls, one magazine. We should all complain to Sig, we need more than one magazine, and adjustable AR-15 style length of pull buttstock, right? So I don't know if I left anything out on this rifle. If anybody wants to see anything that I left out, I can do a tabletop, and I can take it apart to pull the gas system out, barrel off, the whole thing. I mean, this whole thing just comes off, barrel comes out, gas system falls out in your hand, right? Well, you have to unscrew it, but it comes out in your hand. This is harder to take apart. I don't want to say that. This is different to take apart than the blowback system, and it's different to clean as well. And where the blowback system get a lot of the junk right there in the chamber. With this, the chamber stays relatively clean, the bolt stays relatively clean, and most of the junk is up here in the gas system. So, which is like other piston, like an AR-15 that's piston driven, right? A lot of the junk might not be back in the bolt, but it's up in the piston, right? So the same thing with this. Anyway, if you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments. If you want to leave that comment that, hey, you can't compare those two, go ahead, I guess. Yeah, go ahead. And if you've made it this far, I'd appreciate it if you like and subscribe to my channel. And let me know if there's anything else that you might want to see me review. All these weapons, guns, knives, things that I review on the channel, they're all purchased, and I probably should have said this earlier, they're all purchased by me with my money. I'm not sponsored by anybody, and I don't have any affiliations with any gun companies. This is just stuff that I actually purchase because I like it and want to play with it, test it, hunt with it, etc. Right? So all of my reviews are honest because nobody's telling me what to say. Anyway, like and subscribe to my channel, please, and have a wonderful rest of your day. So I'll just burn the rest of this box up.